Hello, it's Jan Cosgrove here with Bognor Herald Video News. Hello. So what's the news the last few days? Politics. Local politics, if you will. Elections, but not in Arran. Not for Arran Council, nor Bognor Town, nor the parishes. No, we do all those once every 4 years, the whole lot up for grabs. And then we don't bother for another 4 years. Lucky old us. But in other parts, round here, they don't do it the same way. For example, many now elect 1/3 of the councillors every year and don't have an election in the 4th year. A day off, as it were. So what's been happening in this recent round of elections? Well, at Portsmouth, that moved to no overall control. The Conservatives lost there. And they also lost again at Southampton, where Labour took control. At Ada, the Conservatives just about retained control. No elections in Brighton. At Crawley, Labour took over. So what's the other one that's left? Well, if we mention this particular council I'm going to talk about, a few years ago, especially when I was young, all those centuries back, you used to think of this place as Colonel Blimp. The end of empire. No blacks here, thank you. And various things like that. Behind the times, gin and tonic. Worthing. Well, storm my barricades. After a few years, when there was no Labour representation, the blighters have now taken over. Yes, Labour-controlled Worthing Borough Council. I never thought I'd live to see it, but I have. What does it all mean? Well, we shall see. What about that Mr. Johnson and his crew up there in London? What does it mean for him? Time will tell, but I shouldn't tell you that Michael Gove MP is hosting or being a guest of honour at a fundraising dinner for the local Conservative Association in Arran. Signs of leadership contest? Who knows? Going further afield in the UK, up north, another unlikely Labour gain, I think, in my view, Cumberland, of the sausages, that's gone Labour. I can't really see how that happened, but there you are. You would have thought traditional rural area. A bit further afield in the United Kingdom, well, we just have confirmed that Sinn Féin will be the largest party in Stormont in the Northern Ireland Assembly elections, when you've sorted out all the proportional voting. The DUP and the Ulster Unionists have lost ground. But the real winners, in some ways, because Sinn Féin hasn't made much advance, the real winners are the Alliance Party, who have jumped to 17 places. Well, what does that mean? Well, all one can hope, after all this history, that they look forward instead of back and take on board what the opportunities are for this new arrangement. We shall see. Now, Ukraine, taking family issues a tad further afield. I've been looking at some of the YouTube material and video material. One particularly good Sky report, which is carried on our Facebook page in the last few days. Children from a cancer ward in a Ukrainian city being ferried along a perilous sort of corridor to Poland, being kept waiting at the border, all the rest of it, and with life-threatening conditions. Their mums and their supporters bravely with them. Now, some have got to Poland. On this particular bus, they're all there. Some of those have now gone on to Italy. And then we go to a situation in Ukraine itself. And there are two reports from, I think, a rather good Ukrainian reporter who is pretty trenchant about it. He says he's got there two interviews with young Russians, boys. I'm sorry, they're not much more than boys who've been put into this situation, often without proper preparation, training, hardly armed, never being told where they're going, and always being told, well, something else and other than what was happening. we're just staying here, this side of the border. No, we're going in here, we're going to save it from fascists, and so forth. These two boys injured. Well, one of them, they're both asked why they're there, and they both tell about how little they've been told and how misled they were. And they're put in touch with their mums. The journalist phones their mothers in Russia and lets them speak. Well, both mums are pretty glad to hear, but the first one, well, talk about hook, line and sinker swallowing. No, it's nothing, we've done nothing wrong. No, you're doing the right thing. Well, my son has been injured. Well, there you are. It's unbelievable. She doesn't want to know. Then another woman, she is in tears. It's very hard to watch, I tell you. Hard. She's in tears watching, talking with her son. She just knows that he's alive and that he's in captivity, and it seems to be being looked after. And the journalist says, no, he doesn't pull many punches. He said, well, why do you think your son's here? And she said, we're simple farming people, my husband and I. We don't know. Look, if I'd known what was going to happen, I would have kidnapped him to kept him home and saved him from this. It makes you think. So, pulling away from that to Mariupol. And I'm reminded there of a story my Polish grandmother, Aldona, told me about her time in a similar situation in another city, but in 1944, in the Warsaw Uprising, when they were resisting street by street, house by house, cellar by cellar, just as these people in Mariupol have been doing. She was 17 in one of the underground organizations. First of all, commanded to go into the building and hold it, then ordered out, then ordered back in for a last stand, and then just pulled out in time before a Tiger tank took it out. You know, she told me that when Warsaw finally surrendered, even the SS, the hated Nazi SS, saluted them, and they didn't go to concentration camp. They went to prisoner war camps and thus survived. Extraordinary, or ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and we need to think about this. Imagine someone had swarmed across the channel and they were heading here to Bognor. We didn't ask them in, they told lies, had an excuse, they were rescuing some population, I don't know. How would we feel? Seeing our homes shattered, a whole way of life destroyed, because someone somewhere else had designs upon our country. We shall fight them on the beaches, if you remember that great speech. Now, talking about homes, redevelopment. Building at Ford Aerodrome site, the old World War II airfield. Some building been done there, and it's been counted as a brownfield site. That means it's already been used for something else. It's not agricultural land. But there is a petition out there because people are saying, well, there is farming on there now, and we don't want you to build on this because we must save the land for farming because etc., etc., etc. I never see a petition for we must build homes for people because they need them in order to have a decent start in life, to have a decent prospect of health, a decent prospect of their children's education, a decent prospect of mental well-being. We never see that petition, do we? You know, a good environment isn't just about fields and hedges and pretty wild flowers. It's about decent places to live. And if population is increasing, let's be blunt, we need more homes. And if we can't find space elsewhere, then it's going to be on green space. In fact, I would say to many of these petitioners, isn't your home on such a place that used to be a green field? It's needed. We shall see how it goes. Football. The Rocks, Bognor Rocks, they didn't play this week. But the good news is, well, it's two bits. One is that Robbie Blake, the new manager, there's now a women's team. And as women's football is climbing up in the ladder in attention and skill and everything, that's really good to know. But actually, the real heroes this week are the under-14s. The under-14 lads are through to a cup final against Lewis to be played next week on the 15th. And we have to wish them well because they've done extremely well to get where they are. And so, good luck, lads. Very good luck indeed. So that's it for this time. See you next edition. Thank you.